Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Fairy Witch Vlog. I'm the Fairy Witch, and today we're doing a special video, which I hope you'll really like. If you've seen any of my introduction videos and the other ones on the channel, and I thank you, and if you haven't, please feel free to check them out. You do know that sometimes I mention that I am an artist, I'm a crafter, I'm a knitter. So today I am highlighting my knitting. And I'm going to show you my favorite thing to make is my knitted fairy dolls. So we have a couple here, and I will show you the rest of them. So we're going to do like a little fairy doll showcase this morning, and I hope that you'll really like it. I hope you'll be inspired by it, and I do sell them, so you can always contact me if you're interested in seeing or purchasing one. That would be fantastic. But I'm going to show you what I've got. So these are a couple of the little guys. So we are going to start off with the preliminaries. How do I come up with it? So I'm going to move them over a little bit. Go. Okay, so what I do, I have been a knitter for, oh gosh, it's 18 years, maybe more. I'm one of those knitters where I like to learn new things once in a blue moon, but when I find something that I like, a project I like to do, a technique that I like to use, I stick with it, and I very rarely will add or change it. So I came up with this pattern for these dolls. I created it since like my second, it's like, well, I've created probably a small book full of knitted patterns for different projects, but this is my most ambitious one. This is the one that takes the longest. So what I do generally when I'm starting out is I do a really quick gestural sketch, and it's not fancy, it's not to scale, it's not, is beautiful. I mean, I am an artist, but these are just gestural, really quick line sketches that give me an idea of what I'm going to do for the doll. Now, the doll pattern, again, is one I created. So each doll is pretty much the same size, the same width. But I do design each one to be different. So I never make the same one twice. I never want to have the same design on each doll. And each one will be different, so each one is unique. And I like doing that. I like to make them one of a kind. And I just move on. And I don't have help. I do everything myself. So to do a doll, to make a doll from beginning to end, from designing it, and it's if I work on it every day, if I work on it every day steadily, I can get one done and completely finished in about 8 weeks. That's like 2 months. If I have any delays, if I have injuries that slow me down, or if I've created a new aspect for the doll and I don't have it on the pattern, but I've got to figure out add it to the pattern and work it out, it might take 3 or 4 months to get a doll done. So it's not something I can instantaneously do, but if I work on it steadily, I can get it done in about 2 months, maybe a little less, depending on how quick I am and how involved the design is. But generally, I start out with a gestural sketch. Sometimes I kind of deviate from it, but I kind of do this. Sometimes I might put it in color, other times I'll just figure it out. So I do the sketch, I come up with the name, because each one is named. Each one comes with a name tag that I sign and date on the back. And then I do the design, as best I try to match it. And I pick the yarn, of course. I have to pick the yarn from my stash, which isn't as big it used to be. I've had to sell a lot of my supplies over the years because I really need money. So it's upsetting, but I've had to do what I had to do. But I just go through my stash and I try to find the colors and the things that I want and what I think will work for that design. And then I go from there. So, yeah. So I start out with a sketch, and this is a sketch that I am going to do, this is one doll I was thinking of doing, so maybe when I do my studio time video, you'll actually see me starting to work on it. But I have the design here, so that's how I begin. There. Okay, so might as well get them started. So this little fella here, this one is Haiku the elf. And this one took me quite a while because I actually added elements for him. So I had to build him a little bow and arrow. So we've got a little bow and arrow here made of wire and knitted, and it's been, plastic and that kind of thing. And again, you get the name tag that's signed and dated. And then we've got the little hat with acorns. Those are real acorns that I've glued on along with little felt leaves. Here's the little face. The face is hand knitted with yarn, and then I made the bubble nose, yarn hair, and he's got little booties. We've got the little tassels on the leggings, and he's got a little utility belt kind of thing around his tunic. So he's one of my favorites. I think that he turned out the best. And again, I didn't bring my measuring tape, but I think they measure out to be about 15 inches from head to toe. And then from arm to arm, that could be 8, maybe 8 inches. I'll have to bring the measuring tape. When I pause this, I'll bring in the measuring tape and be sure. But generally, like I say, that's the size that they come, and they're made. So anyway, I got his little bow and arrow, and he's like, the protector of the fairy realm. So he's their little warrior. But as you can see, each piece is knitted, and I do it all by hand. So I knit each piece, then I have to stitch them, hand stitch all the pieces together. So generally the head and the body here are one piece. I cinch it, stitch it, stuff it with fiberfill. Then I do the little arm, attach it, do the arm, attach it, do the leg, attach it, do the leg, attach it. And then any accessories get added on afterwards. So everything is done by piece and then put together. All by hand. I don't use a knitting machine. So again, that's why it takes me a while sometimes to get through a doll design, because I have so many steps to do. But I enjoy it. I enjoy making them. So this is a little haiku, and they're soft. They're flexible, so you can sit them down. You can kind of pose them. You can put them in a doll. The doll stand is the mermaid is here. She's on the doll stand. So you can put them on a doll stand. So it's really great. I do say, though, because the dolls are handmade and there's a lot of little pieces, little elements, that I don't recommend the dolls for kids, especially kids. I would say under 15, and maybe that sounds a little bit much, but I do handcraft them, like I said, and they're an art form, and again, you got little pieces, so you don't want anybody to choke on them. I don't want babies or kids choking on them, pulling them apart, this kind of stuff. You want any decent age for a person who's actually going to care about them and take care of them and really love them, but not abuse them. So yeah, I would say 15 years and up would be a good way to, good age group for my dolls. So this is Haiku, and we're gonna put him back on the shelf. I gotta go grab the measuring tape, and we'll be right back. Okay, so then the next one is, since she's sitting here, we're gonna talk about Marina. And Marina is the mermaid. And so she's the first one and the only one so far that I've knitted. And again, she took a lot longer. I think this one took me almost 4 months to make. I did have some setbacks, but also I had to create the mermaid fins. I had never done them before. I had to create them for the pattern. And, it's trial and error. You start to knit and you find out it doesn't work. You got to take it apart. You got to rip it out. You got to start over. So, yeah, she took me a while. But I really like the way she turned out finally. And, now that it's part of the pattern, I can make another one. And I probably will. I just haven't done it yet. But, yeah, so she's my little mermaid. So she has the little shell piece that's attached to her little bodice. Oh, let me do the measurements. I got my tape. And she stands, and I recommend that she always stays in the doll stand because she doesn't sit. Everything is stitched together, but she doesn't really sit. So if you were going to purchase her, she would need a doll stand. Okay, there we go. And let's see. Yeah. So she's 14 inches top to bottom. And then from arm to arm, 9. Okay. So yeah. So that's about what each doll measures out to be. Because again, it's the same pattern. So she has her blue and green blended yarn thread. She's got the purple little bodice, the shell detail. She's got her long braid. It's like a multicolored brown, really pretty. And she's got the little jeweled necklace. She's got the bubble nose. They got the little shell ears right here. I got some little flowers glued onto her braid. She's got a little pink tassel that I also attached to the braid. And again, she's just, really cute, hand stuffed. So each piece is knitted, then I stitch them together. So she is my little mermaid. So this is Marina. And again, like I said, I have the pattern so I can create another mermaid. I just haven't been inspired to do another one yet. But we're at a good start. So she is my little mermaid. Okay, so the next little fella is Spindle. This one is Spindle. And again, fit about 14, 15 inches tall, about 8 or 9 inches from arm to arm. And little Spindle here, he's, again, each one's going to be different. So he's got this little silly flower star hat. He's got the little, bubbled yarned hair. He's got little fairy ears, bubble nose, but he's got button eyes. These are plastic button eyes, light brown. And then he's got this little outfit. So he's got his little tunic, and I've done like a crisscross corset kind of look in front. And let's see, he's got the high little collar. You can pull it down a little bit if you want to. And then he's got his little matching booties, and they're attached to the leg. And then he's carrying a little backpack. This is the first time I knitted a backpack. So he has this little backpack, and because his name is Spindle, he kind of works with yarn and thread and sewing. So I have this actual little oh God, I don't know what I'm talking about. The little thread, sewing machine threader. A word went out of my head. I can't help it. Anyway, so it's an actual one with the thread still on it, and I just glued it into the backpack. So he carries his little sewing stuff with him, and he helps all his little fellow fairies. Now he's a wingless fairy because there are wingless fairies. I know that we always think of fairies with wings, but that's actually something that only got created by the Victorians back in the Victorian era. It was actually their theaters, their theater groups, because they wanted to represent fairies in a play or a musical. So they wanted the audience to be able to identify the person right away. So they're the ones that actually created wings. And now, of course, we just always think of fairies having wings. But in real folklore and real fairy myth, not every fairy being has wings. So he's a fairy, but he doesn't have any wings. He's got his backpack instead. He's there to help. He's there to work. He's there to, do what he needs to do. He don't have time to fly. He's just a fast runner. So this is my little spindle. And again, he sits, he's soft, hand stitched, and stuffed with fiberfill. So this is Spindle. This is Rosaline Dethorn. And this little girl here, she was different for me. I picked this really pretty, beautiful yarn. One of my favorite yarns to work with is the company I Love This Yarn. Most of the time you can get it at Hobby Lobby. And I just love that brand. And I just love a lot of their colors. And they have all these beautiful, that already have all these color mixtures and they just blend as you knit them. I just love it. Anyway, this one, I think this colorway was called Bird Song, maybe? I think it was Bird Song. Really pretty. It's got blues and greens and yellow golds and like an off-white. It's really gorgeous. I love it. So this little girl, she's got this pretty little ruffled dress and got the little green buttons I added. She's holding a little pink rosette and she's got the bubble nose. She's got the blue stitched eyes, got a little plastic butterfly on her little green cap. And then she's got these little pretty yellow braids. And so I did all these by hand and then you attach them, of course. And she's got little booties, which I added some little plastic green sprigs to for a little decoration. There you are. And again, she's about 15 inches tall. And she's really soft. She's flexible, all hand stitched, everything. Same thing. Each one is the same. I'm going to show the view of the back. But she's soft and cuddly, and she's just a lot of fun. So yeah, so this is Rosaline Dethorn. And she took probably like, I'm going to say probably 9 or 10 weeks to make this one. Mainly because I had to work out the braids and then I had to knit this little, it's like a little cap, that you used to see in costumes and stuff where, it's like a really cold weather and you could just wrap it over the top of your head and then, usually tie it under the chin. I didn't do the tie, I just stitched them. She does have ears, but they're covered in the cap, but I did put the pointed fairy ears on her. But the cap covers them up, but they are there. And again, she doesn't have wings. This one doesn't have wings, but that doesn't mean she's not a fairy. Okay, next up is little Skylark. And Skylark, he's a little bit taller. I think he's probably more 15 inches. We can check it because, let's see. Partly it's the hair. Oh, okay, he's about 17 inches. Okay, so from head to toe, about 17 inches. Still about 8 inches wide, but yeah, he's a little bit taller. I think I was experimenting and trying to see if I could get the pattern to get a little bit bigger. So I think I made the body and the legs just a little bit longer than some of them. And sometimes though, it's not the pattern, it's the yarn. Sometimes the yarn will actually change the size or the look of the design. It could be because maybe the yarn is more, oh, try not to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. The weather is changing finally. My sinuses are going crazy. Um, Sometimes it's the yarn. The yarn will be maybe a looser gauge, so it'll make things look bigger and wider. The stitches might be wider, and then maybe the other yarn might be a more of a tighter, smaller gauge. And so even though it's the same pattern, the doll comes out a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. So I never know exactly how that's going to work. I just take, I just to take into account this might be a little bit off. But it always comes out good. I'm always happy. It's just sometimes they're a little bit bigger, sometimes a little bit smaller. So anyway, Skylark here, he is knitted, I can't remember if that is the Atlantis. That might be the Atlantis colorway or it's the Peacock. I can't remember. Not sure. Can't remember now. But he has a little ribbon necklace that I made. He's got a little German Shepherd pewter doggy charm he's wearing. And he's got this hair. And this hair is actually yarn that hasn't been spun. And so I just kind of liked it, and I liked the colors and everything. So what I did was I just glued it on in pieces, tried to style it, and then I think I used either Mod Podge or hairspray, and just really tried to keep it lacquered. And then I just don't touch it. I leave the hair alone as best I can. So he's got two blue button eyes, the kind of an aqua blue, and he's also got a little glue teardrop here. He's got a little bobble nose, he's got the hand stitched pink mouth, and he's got wings. So he's got the golden wings, and I knit each one separately, and then I attach them to the back of the doll. So yeah, so he has wings. So as I was saying, he's got the little blue booties, and they've been stitched and attached. Again, he sits, and you can, kind of play with them, hand stitched together, stuffed with fiberfill, and he's got the little wings. He's got his little name tag, signed and dated. I actually made him last year. This is 2024, and so he was made last year. So this is little Skylark, if you're interested. And again, a little close-up of the face. There's a little teardrop. So this is Skylark. This next little girl is Moonstone, and Moonstone, I think, is the very first one I ever made. And I made her, and then as I have progressed the pattern along, I did go back and I changed her a little bit. I added a few things to her. So yeah, so by now she's gotten the ears, because I created the little fairy pointed ears months after I started her. And then I figured out the wings, so she now has wings. So I did kind of improve her once I got the pattern worked on. So yeah, she's got these white sparkly wings, and I just knit them and stitch them on. Then she's got this beautiful moon colored yarn dress, and it's hard because the light does fade it out a bit, but it's a sparkly moon blue, and it kind of graduates into the gradiates. It has a gradient where it changes more into like the sparkle, and then it's whiter. It starts to get white, and so it was perfect. So I love the name, so I called her Moonstone. So I've given her this little silver necklace. She has the bubble nose, which is also something I added later. And she's got the stitched in eyes, and she's got this little bell hat that I created. And then she's got little little braids in front, but the rest of the hair is this blue and white sparkle yarn. There we go. And then I created this little moon bag for her. And so this has actually a little knitted ball that I made. And then I thought, you know what, I don't want all that blue. I want something that represents the moon a little more specifically. So I bought that very sparkly silver iridescent fabric and then wrapped that up. So it looks like she's carrying like a little moon bag with her. And so that was the idea. And she's got little dark booties that match. So this is Moonstone. Again, flexible. And she's a little bit shorter. Well, she's definitely shorter than Skylark that I just showed you. But again, this was the very first one that I ever made. So, yeah. So she has that distinction. Now we're on to the next little fella, and this is Monkfort. And Monkfort is he's about 15 inches from head to toe, 8 inches, 8 and 9 inches from arm to arm. And this little fella, he's got a couple of different aspects as well. It took me a little while to work out. So what I did was, first of all, I had to create this little hat. The little hat was actually the little bell hat that I've used before, but I wanted to really make a long, a long point, kind of like Dr. Seuss's, the Grinch kind of look. And so I had to work that, and then he's got the little pointed fairy ears. He's got the little bubble nose. Then I stitched in the eyes, and I did it a little differently than in the past in the other dolls. So that was a different aspect. Then I worked out the little hair, and he's got this little ponytail back here. And let me get the hat away. Little ponytail. So I had to stitch in and pull the hair together, and then I gave him this little ponytail. And he's also wearing a cape. I created a little cape. And since we're on the back, let me flip. He's got wings. So he's got these little very different green. It's almost the colors being drowned out a little bit here. It's whitened out a little bit from the window light, but it's kind of it's kind of like an Irish green, I guess I would call it. And so he's got the little wings. He's got little booties, and then he's carrying a little messenger scroll that I made. He is actually the fairy messenger, so he's going to be like their little mailman. So, and then he's got these little vines that I made, and I wrapped them like armbands and for decoration. So he's got that. So again, it was different, totally different look, totally different aspect, different elements I wanted to add. Again, flexible, soft. You can pose him, you can hold him, you can put him in a doll stand, and he's just cute. So this is Monkfort, and again, that's a different one of my other fairies. Next up is Tristan, and Tristan, she is the second fairy doll I ever made from my pattern. And again, she's one of those that after I started working on the pattern, I went back and added some of those elements, like the little bubble nose, the bobble nose, and the wings, So I did go back and work on her a little bit more months after she was originally finished. So she is got her little flaring skirt. She's got little purple booties. She's got the little necklace bow with the bow tie, and she's got the little crooked mouth. She's kind of going, And I got the little bubble nose, which I added. Hand-stitched eyes, which are black. And then I used this different yarn. It's like a little fuzzy, scrubby yarn. And I just made little wisps and just glued it on. And then I made this big bell hat, which also matches the skirt, to go over her head. And she's got, like I said, she's got the sparkling green wings. And again, this is kind of an off green. I forget the colorway because I made these so long ago, but this is a sparkly green, which you might be able to see as I get closer. Maybe the light shows a little bit of shine, but I know it's bleeding the color out. But this is actually, it's like a yellow green, but it goes along with yellow green in the dress. So I did try to match. So this is Tristan, and again, posable, whee! Or put in a doll stand, and again, each piece hand knit, hand stitched, put with fiberfill, and then stitched together to create the full doll. And now we come to Thistlewick. Thistlewick took me a while because again, there was different elements I needed to work on. And again, he is a little bit taller. This one, he's a little bit taller. So let's measure. He's 16 inches from head to toe. So again, he's like Skylark, a little bit taller, a little bit thinner. But that's partly because of the yarns. I think part of it was the yarns, and I might have just tried to extend the legs a little bit. So I was kind of experimenting, like I said, with the pattern. But this one, he's got different browns and blues as his tunic, and the legs, the matching boots, little booties. Got his name tag, as all of them do. The face is got the hand stitched in green eyes, the little bubble bobble nose, hand stitched mouth. He's got black stringy hair, which I've had to stitch in one piece at a time. And then, let's see, he's got the green bell hat, but I've added artificial flowers and leaves to it. And there are some actual little twigs from the garden that I glued in. So he's got actual sticks and twigs. So again, Thistlewick was a good name for him. So that was the idea behind it. And he also carries this little pack with him. Oops, got spun around. He's got this little bag, little messenger bag, and it's got leaves and twigs from the yard and some artificial leaves. And again, he is the little collector. He's making stuff and helping their little fairy community out. So he has to carry his bag as he collects everything every day. He's got the pointed ears. And then he has the green wings, of course. So I've got the green forest dark green wings. And again, they're stitched, and then I just attach them to the back. So yeah, so this is Thistlewick. And again, posable, soft, good for a doll stand. Again, each piece, like I say, with the pattern, each piece is knitted, stuffed, and then stitched together to create the whole doll. So this is Thistlewick. Okay, so next is this little girl, Springle. Little Springle here. Now this one, I think I chose the yarn first, and then I designed the doll. Like I say, normally I do the gestural sketch first, then pick the yarn. In this case, I really liked this beautiful, bright, gradient, rainbow yarn. It was just cheery, it's happy, it's sweet, it's candy, and I really liked it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to use this yarn. So this time I chose the yarn. Then, because I was looking at, the yarn colors, it just looked like Springle. I didn't want to call her Sprinkle with a K. I wanted something different, so I went with Springle with a G. So this was a different case. But anyway, the whole dress is one piece, and I don't think, no, look, I think the arms, the little sleeves were knitted separately, and then I attached them to the dress, and then pulled it over her head and got it to fit. But the whole main part of the dress is one piece, and then the wings, they are this golden yellow. But then I used a little bit of the dress yarn for the very tips, just to make it different. Again, each doll, I try to do something completely different, so they're not exactly the same. I want them to be unique. So I gave her this yellow hair. Again, you have to stitch it on, and then I made the little ponytail. She's got this cute little bell hat, which matches the dress. And then her face, she's got the plastic blue buttons. As the eyes, we've got the button, the bobble nose, and then I hand stitched in the pink mouth. And I get a little off because she's like, And then I gave her this little bag. I knitted this little bag, and she's got little rosettes on it. So she's carrying her bag, and she has a little artificial pink birdie attached to her shoulder. Birdie wanted to take a ride and, hang out. So it's a little baby bird attached. It's glued to her shoulder here. So she's got little matching booties also. So this one was a little more simple, and she does have the pointed fairy ears, but the hat kind of covers them a bit, but they are there. And it was more of a simple design, so I probably got this one done in like 8 or 9 weeks. I probably got her finished pretty quickly. I can't remember exactly because, let's see, I didn't put the date on it. Okay, you need a name tag. I just realized she don't have her name tag. I thought I did. Okay, that's something I gotta do, is give her her name tag, so I will do that later. But yeah, this is Springle. Okay, so as we come to a close in this video, here is my final doll. I believe she's the last one. Yeah, I don't see any others, so I think she's the last one. So this little girl is Fiona Poppywell, and she has a little friend. So again, we got another new element. So this is Fiona, and she's about 15 inches, I think. And with her, she took a lot longer because I had to work out the hair. And so the hair is stitched in one strand at a time. Then it's kind of bound down here again, and then I've left some of it loose. So it kind of dangles out. So that was a new aspect. She's got these beautiful pale blue wings. And then she's got this lovely dress. I forget the colorway, but I did a different dress. So she's got like a little puffy collar that doesn't go all the way around. It just goes through the back. Got the little tunic top, and then the skirt is separate. And so she's got a little bit of, belly room here. And let's see, she's got the little matching booties. She's got the little green leggings underneath. And then she's got this little headband across the top. Hand-stitched eyes, the pointed ears, the bubble nose, and then a stitched-in mouth. So that is Fiona. And then Fiona has a little friend. So this is a little birdie friend. And so I used the same yarn that I think it's the same yarn I used for her headband. So it's the same yarn for that, for his little wings, his little tail. He's got black stitched eyes and then the little brown beak. And he's, a few inches more than that actually, huh? Let's see. He is from head to the bottom about 5 inches. down the neck, and from the neck to the tail, it's about 7 inches. So yeah. So this one, it comes as a set. So Fiona, Poppywell, and her little birdie friend, I would sell them together, of course. And so that's different aspects. Again, that was something that took longer to work out, was the bird and a little bit of different aspect on her face and the hair. But again, each one is unique, each one is different. That's the idea. I like doing it that way, and I enjoy making them. I haven't made any for a few months, if not longer. But like I said, I do have a sketch for one, and I have another sketch that I'm going to improve on, which is going to be a gift, I think. Going to be a Christmas gift for a friend. So I need to get started. So I will probably do some in-studio videos coming up where basically you're going to just watch me work on something, and so you'll actually get to see me do the knitting and do the planning and all of that. So, stay tuned for those. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That way you get a notification when it's done, when I'm posted them. I thank you so much for watching this. I hope it inspired you. I hope you liked them. Again, I do sell them, so if you'd like to subscribe, if you'd like to like the video, if you'd like to donate to our channel to help us so I can keep buying yarn and help the kitties that we take care of and pay our bills so I can keep going, that would be fabulous. I do have a PayPal link, which is on this channel in blue writing right below, I should say, below the channel name. You just click on that, or you can cut and paste into your search bar. It'll take you right to it. It's easy. Just add a little note, if you would, that says it's a donation, so I know. That would be terrific, and I'd really appreciate it. So again, have a fairy day. Thank you for joining me and my fairy doll collection, and hopefully we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.